They openly were preparing for yet another punitive operation in Donbass for an invasion of our historic lands, including Crimea. In Kiev, they were talking about the possible acquisition of nuclear weapons. The NATO bloc started actively developing territories adjacent to us. And therefore, in a planned way, we're creating an absolutely unacceptable threat immediately next to our borders. Everything pointed to a collision with the Nazis and Banderites that was inevitable and that was supported by the West.
CTV's chief international correspondent, Paul Workman, is in Kyiv for us this morning. He joins me now with more. Paul, good morning to you. Tell us more about what we heard from Putin today in this Victory Day address and the reaction from there in Kyiv where you are.
First of all, Marcia, the only victory he declared today happened 77 years ago at the end of the Second World War. He has not been able to claim victory over this country, Ukraine. In fact, his forces appear to be quite bogged down in the east and certainly in the south. And many people thought that he truly wanted a victory, to be able to go to the people of his country today and say, look what we've done in Ukraine. We have won that country. We've saved Russia from the threat. He did not do that. He did not also escalate the war in any sense. People thought he might have formally declared war on Ukraine, that he might have announced a general mobilization in Russia. He did not do any of that. And so people here certainly are left looking at today's parade, today's speech, and we have no better idea at all what Vladimir Putin is planning to do in the days and weeks ahead with his forces in Ukraine.
And yet a very different message from Ukraine's president today. What did Zelensky say?
Well, he promised his people there would be two victories to celebrate. One, of course, from the end of the Second World War. Ukraine suffered tremendously during that war as well, but he said they will soon, at least in the future, have another victory to celebrate over the Russians who have invaded his country and in fact occupy a good part of the eastern side of Ukraine. It's a pretty strong message. It's a message meant to keep the public here supportive of the war effort, knowing that the Russian forces are continuing to bomb and to blast and to pound especially eastern Ukraine. So it was a message of hope, and it was a message of deep resolve.
Paul Workman for us in Kyiv this morning. Paul, thank you for that.